Opening night tonight at Great American Ballpark after we had opening day 2 days ago. But a very different feel. Not only we go from day to night, but we go from bright sunshine to lots of rain. The players walking the red carpet earlier on and the fans hanging out. Crowd expected of up over 35,000 tonight, but they're going to be waiting, it appears, for quite a while due to all the rain that has rolled into the greater Cincinnati area. And hopefully, we're keeping our fingers crossed, we will play baseball tonight. Hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Well, if and when we get started, the second game of the year belongs to young left-hander Tony Cingrani. This time a year ago, Chris, he was starting his season at AAA Louisville.
Oh, you're right about that. And even that was his second stint in the major leagues. If you remember, Tony Cingrani came up in September 2012. He pitched a little bit, and he was so good that the Reds put him on the postseason roster. Last year, he came up on May 30th to take the place of Johnny Cueto, and he pitched very well. He did indeed. In fact, he showed that you can get by in the major leagues with essentially one pitch, and that was a fastball. A high fastball. He fashioned a 7-4 record overall. They're trying to get him to work on a little bit more of his off-speed stuff, secondary pitches like slider and changeup. But Bryan Price so far has been very, very impressed with this young left-hander.
As we've talked about before, he's had to develop the off-speed pitches and the confidence to go with the quality, and in large part he's done that over the course of especially this past spring training. He's made some significant jumps. That being said, we know that he loves to challenge hitters with fastballs. He's got a good one, special not just from a velocity standpoint, but deception and movement and explosiveness. So, and the key is being he's so competitive is just to not try to do too much and not to get too emotional when things aren't going his way. But in large part, I mean, he's a guy we're counting on to give us some big innings this year.
Well, if you like good young pitchers, tonight is your night. Cingrani for the Reds, and 22-year-old former #1 pick Michael Wacha gets a ball for St. Louis.
Yeah, Michael Wacha has only had 9 starts in the major leagues. I mean, although he was a young man that went head-to-head with Clayton Kershaw twice last year in the postseason and beat him both times by shutting out the Dodgers. Tony Cingrani, another tough challenge ahead for a Reds pitcher, as Johnny Cueto saw on the first night against Adam Wainwright. But you've got two guys. They're tall. Wacha 6'6", Tony Cingrani 6'4". Of course, Cingrani the left-hander, Wacha the right-hander. Wacha's main pitch is that changeup that he throws. He throws a fastball about 65% of the time, anywhere from 90 to 95 miles an hour. But for the most part, he gets hitters fishing at that changeup. You see it right there. They are still trying to develop his slider and his curveball. But right now, Wacha, very much like Tony Cingrani, keeps it simple. He goes with the stuff that works.
So when we get going, a good one here between two good-looking young pitchers. When we come back, Jim Day is going to visit with some of the Reds about the first start for Billy Hamilton. It's only one game, folks. It was a rough day for Billy, but he's getting some words of wisdom from some of his veteran teammates when we return.
In ballpark. So far, nightfall has not fallen completely, but unfortunately the rain is still coming down as you look into the hundreds, if not 1,000 people around this set right now. Trying to stay dry from the rain in this rain delay. Reds and Cardinals, we hope. Coming up on Fox Sports Ohio is the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. If there's a rain delay, it's the place to be. Jim Day with you. Happy opening night, everyone. As far as opening day goes, there was a lot of anticipation for Reds rookie Billy Hamilton. In fact, the most anticipation we've seen from a rookie in a long, long time. Well, after the game, that anticipation turned into disappointment. It was a rough day for Billy. There's no question about that. 0 for 4, including 4 strikeouts. Was facing Adam Wainwright, one of the best pitchers in the game. But I talked to Billy at length about it today, and he admitted to me that he was anxious. He had butterflies, and he was even telling himself at the plate, I've got to get a hit for the fans. Perhaps squeezing the bat a little too tight, but all part of the learning experience. And after the game, he also learned that his manager and his teammates, well, they have his back.
I actually told him during the game that last year I think I struck out my first 5 or 6 at-bats, and I ended up okay. So The main thing is you can't let this shape. You can't fall for it. You can't fall for the hot or the cold week or the hot or the cold month. It's a marathon. It's a long season. He's got 700 and more plate appearances. He's going to look back in September, and this is going to be just a small blip on the screen. I saw him all spring training, and it's tough because he's young. He wants to come out and make an impression. He wants to have a good opening day. The opening day, jitters. Everyone has them. I have them. This is my 6th. So it's something that you can tell someone, but you have to experience for yourself. And it's baseball's humbling, man. It's always going to humble you, and I'm not worried about him in the least bit. I'm still very, very excited for him to be our center fielder. There's no question about it.
He's already received some encouragement. He knows that he doesn't need to look over his shoulder here, that he's our center fielder. We're not looking to evaluate him in 2 weeks or one game. There's a million stories that you can kind of refer back to. Willie Mays going 0 for 20 and wanting to get sent back to AAA, and Leo DeRocher said that'll never happen. He's not the first guy to go there and have an opening day where you struggle, especially against the pitching he faced the other day. So, he had a great spring. He did a great job for us last year in September. We're very confident that he's ready to be here and thrive, and I anticipate that he will electrify us here in the coming games.
Of course, you want to get on base. That's my job. It didn't happen yet. The opening day, but I'm looking forward to today to a new start. So I'm focused and I'm better.
And the encouragement that Billy received stretched way farther than just his clubhouse. He told me today he got calls from, amongst others, Eric Davis called him, told him about opening days of the past where he didn't have a great start. Got a call from Ken Griffey Sr. of all people, giving him encouragement. Delino DeShields called him today, and others. In spring training, I was impressed with Billy Hamilton because when he came to spring training, all the media members, every media member that came there wanted to talk to Billy Hamilton, and he handled the pressure and all the attention in stride. He seems to be mature beyond his years, and today, talking to him, confident. He's already put opening day behind him. I expect better things. In fact, Bryan Price said, hey, it won't be long before he's electrifying us all, and we hope that indeed happens. Coming up, I'm going to be talking to Hall of Fame writer Hal McCoy up in the booth as we set you up for what we hope is Game 2 between the Reds and Cardinals. But up next, the Reds are banged up. The injury situation. We'll update you on the injured players with Jeff Picorro and Brian Gieseslaw when we come back on Fox Sports Ohio.
For the game, rather than waiting until after the game. Waiting, the key word. But welcome back, and it's time for baseball tonight on opening night here at Great American Ballpark with Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Thanks for hanging around. We're set to go tonight. Tony Cingrani against Michael Wacha. Cingrani was so impressive as a rookie a season ago.
Well, he was not afraid to throw strikes. He was a guy that led the National League in percentage of fastballs that he would throw. More than 80% fastballs for Cingrani as he fashioned himself a 7-4 record in 18 starts. He came up in 2012, and the Reds were so impressed with him that immediately after a few appearances in September, they put him on the postseason roster. But it is a matchup of a couple of young guns tonight. Cingrani, 24 years old, will take on a right-hander, Michael Wacha, 22 years old, all of 6 feet 6 inches tall, a hard-throwing right-hander that specializes in a sinking fastball and a changeup. So we've got lefty-righty matchup right here at Great American Ballpark. Wacha, they say, well, he pitches a lot like the pitcher that pitched and shut out the Reds on Monday, and Adam Wainwright, without the big curveball. So we'll see Wacha, who beat Clayton Kershaw twice in the National League Championship Series last year by shutting out the Dodgers 2 times. He'll be on the mound for the second game of the year for the Cardinals against the Reds, and a real good pitching matchup coming your way.
Well, we are very excited to be here for Game 2 of 162. And take a look at our weather, brought to you by a local 12 WKRC. Right now at 56 degrees. A very light wind, forecast for rain, but we're hoping we can sneak this one in. We take a look at Mike Matheny's starting lineup tonight. Matt Carpenter will lead it off. Johnny Peralta in the 2-hole and short. Matt Holliday in left. Alan Craig, Yadier Molina, the hero in Game 1 for St. Louis. Matt Adams at first. The latter third of Peter Borges, the center fielder. Colton Wong from the second spot down to the 8-hole. And Michael Wacha, the postseason hero for the Cardinals a season ago, is on the mound. Tony Cingrani, 7 wins, 4 losses, pitched in 23 games, 18 as a starter. And he is set to go tonight against Carpenter, and the first pitch high and tight. Look out, we're underway. And then Carpenter watches as Cingrani paints the outside corner. Carpenter 0 for 3 in the series opener. Of course, the very first batter of the game, he hit that line drive off the left wrist of Johnny Cueto. Thankfully, Cueto was all right, what with all the injuries that the Reds are dealing with right now. A total of 8 players have began this season on the disabled list, including some mighty big names.
Now, the game plan for Tony Cingrani is fairly simple. Attack the Cardinals with fastballs. And for the Cardinals, their game plan is to try to lay off the high fastball, because once he gets it above the letter high, forget about trying to get on top of it.
And that is strike 3, called a 95-mile-per-hour fastball from Tony Cingrani.
Wow. Nothing but heaters in this at bat against Matt Carpenter. And all 4-seamers at that. Most of the time, you'll see that Cingrani's more effective when that ball is up in the strike zone, but he goes right downstairs and freezes Matt Carpenter.
Cingrani fanned 120 batters in just 104+ innings last year. The strikeout total, the 3rd highest ever by a Reds rookie left-hander. On the ground to Cozart, and Peralta taken care of. Nice pick over there by Votto. 2 out. Take a look at the Reds on defense, the same group we saw 2 days ago in the season opener. Certainly you wonder if the weather conditions will be a factor in this game. Well, just a moment ago, Cozart, who generally is right at the chest on virtually every throw, maybe losing the grip that forced that one in the dirt. Strike 1 to Matt Holliday.
Well, the driest part of this whole area, probably the entire city, is that infield. They've had that covered just about all day long. As soon as it began to rain this afternoon, grounds crew was right on it. What you have, though, are cobwebs in your body. You get here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you take some batting practice, you loosen up, then you realize that there's some rain coming in, and little by little you get to be kind of sedentary in the way you hang out through the clubhouse.
Tell you what, you give a lot of credit to the fans that have stayed around. We have been in a delay for almost 3 hours getting this game started. They sold roughly right around 35,000 tickets for this one tonight, and there's a high number of those that have decided to stick with us. So good going. Strike 3 called, and 96 miles per hour on the radar gun for the young left-hander. A good start for Cingrani. Sports Ohio brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Cincinnati USA. For endless things to do all year long, stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Let's take a look at Bryan Price's starting lineup. Presented by Meyer. Billy Hamilton. Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto. Jay Bruce in a cleanup spot. Ryan Ludwig in left with Todd Frazier, who had 2 hits in the season opener, third. A latter third of Zach Cozart. Brian Pena and Tony Cingrani against hard-throwing young right-hander Michael Wacha.
One of the bright stars in this game, no doubt. He's only had 9 major league starts. All of them came last year. He was drafted #1 by the Cardinals in 2012. And a big part of this rotation.
Hamilton lays down the bunt, fielded by Carpenter, who throws him out.
Billy Hamilton is going to try this a lot. He tried the bunt nearly every at bat. Either he faked the bunt or he actually went through with one in spring training. They asked him to take a lot of pitches. They asked him to try to get himself to be a better bunter. He just bunted that one too hard, and obviously Matt Carpenter at third base expecting it every time Hamilton comes to the plate.
Brandon Phillips had a hit in 2 official at-bats on opening day. He walked twice. He shows bunt and takes up an in. Mentioned Waka, #1 pick out of Texas A&M. That was in 2011, and last year was the National League Championship Series most valuable player. Out dueling, as Chris mentioned earlier, not once, but twice, besting Clayton Kershaw. In doing so, among the youngest League Championship Series MVPs of all time. One of only 3 rookies ever. Remember Livan Hernandez, that great run he had with the Marlins in '97? The first one to do it was Mike Boddicker of the Baltimore Orioles, going all the way back to 1983. A ball and 2 strikes on Brandon. I didn't miss by much. Reds batter struck out 12 times, walking 5 times on opening day. And Walker will handle the bouncer in front of the plate for the second out of the inning. St. Louis defensively presented by your Ford dealers. Talked about newcomers and some others in new positions. Borges now coming over from the Angels. Craig from first base to right field. Adams now the starter at first. Peralta, their new shortstop. Matt Carpenter goes from second base back to his original position at third base. Quiet opener for Joey Votto, hitless in 4 at-bats with 1 strikeout.
Two and one. Hey, both these pitchers throwing very hard tonight. I don't think we saw anybody on opening day. Maybe Kevin Segrist. Coming up there at 95, 96, but
sinking liner to left will fall in a base hit. Holiday trying to make the sliding grab, and Joey Votto, his first hit in 2014, is a double. And that is career hit number 1,000 for Joey Votto. How about that?
And a very Joey Votto-like hit. Taking it the other way, waiting deep, waiting for that ball deep into the hitting zone, and just drops it right in front of Matt Holliday.
So the Reds with a chance to push across their first run of this season. Blanked on opening day, a total of 3 base hits. That's their first extra base hit of this young year, and Jay Bruce quickly down strike 1.
Now the first time Jay Bruce now has come up and has not seen a defensive shift on him. Of course, you can't shift with a man at third base the way the Cardinals did in the first game, where they ran their third baseman all the way into the second baseman spot.
Sounded like he broke his bat, and that's because he did. 0-2.
Walker's mainly fastball changeup. In fact, we talked about Tony Cingrani throwing more fastballs percentage-wise than anybody in the National League. You can say the same for Michael Wacha as his changeup. 27% changeups. That's highest of anybody in the National League last year in his 9 starts in 2013. He's worked on a little bit of a slider, a cutter slider, I'm not so sure that he's really going to throw very many curveballs or not. So it's pretty much fastball changeup for Waka, and that's what the Reds are looking at.
Bruce behind, 0-2. A 2-out double for Joey Votto. He's out at second base. We're in the last of the first inning. Just getting started after what was officially a 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay. They appeal, and he's rung up by Gary Cederstrom, the third base umpire. That's all for the Reds in the opening inning. They get a double from Joey Votto. End of one, no score. Going here in the top of the second inning. Boy, was he impressive in a 1-2-3 opening inning.
Now, they had a couple of strikeouts in that inning. Struck out Matt Carpenter, and then he plays a 96-mile-an-hour fastball right by Matt Holliday. And that is our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. 96, that qualifies as a flamethrower.
So Alan Craig to lead things off here in the Cardinals' second inning. Tried something off speed, and that one sailed up and away to the right-handed batting Cardinal right fielder. Hitless in 4 at-bats on opening day with a strikeout. Reds pitchers fan 9 Cardinals on opening day, walking 2. Cardinals only had 5 hits, and of course only one of them meant anything, but it meant a lot. That was a solo home run clubbed by the man who waits in the on-deck circle. Off that man, Johnny Cueto. Yadier Malik got him in the 7th inning of a scoreless game with 1 out. Cingrani springing off the mound, thinking that was strike 3. Kerwin Danley says no.
Where he really uses his legs, though, to drive towards the plate. One reason why he's throwing the ball so hard.
Broken bat, little flare, and that is going to be caught by Kozai. Nice play.
Well, Zach Kozar gets a good jump on this ball and looks for a moment like it's going to find a little green space. But nearly outstretched and on the run, he makes a very nice grab to keep a leadoff batter from reaching.
Well, did you see how far Billy Hamilton came in? I'm not so sure if he attempts to slide and catch that ball that he doesn't get it. Naturally playing very deep against a guy like Alan Craig. Wow. Now Molina. Molina finished 4th in the National League's Most Valuable Player Award voting last year. Hit .319, 12 home runs, drove in 80. 44 doubles, the most by a regular National League catcher in over 110 years. That's old-fashioned gas right there.
Now, that's a location that Cingrani is very effective in, but it's also a spot that Yadier Molina likes the ball. He likes it up. The pitch that he hit for a home run was up. Of course, the difference was it was a first pitch cut fastball from Johnny Cueto. They just kind of hung out over the center of the plate. Cingrani had a little hair on that fastball.
Hit sharply, but right at Kozai. 2 out.
Well, if you'd like to take your best shot at shutting down this Cardinal offense, one way to do it, at least last year, was to throw a left-hander. They were 27th in the league, the Cardinals were, when it comes to batting average against, as far as all major league teams. Only the Marlins, the Cubs, and the Mariners were worse batting average-wise against left-handed pitching. Same for on-base percentage and slugging percentage as well.
Well, it's no surprise then that they would go out and bring in 2 right-handed batters. Now, David Freese was a right-handed batter, their regular third baseman. John Jay, who will spell Peter Borges in center, is a left-handed batter. That's in the air. Bit off the end of the bat, because when this guy hits him, you're not catching him in front of the warning track. Back-to-back perfect innings for young Mr. Cingrani. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Best records in the National League since 2010. And after only the Atlanta Braves, you have the 2 heavyweights, at least over the last 4 or 5 years, inside the National League Central. That would be the Cardinals and the Redlegs. It's interesting to note when you take a look at those 5 teams going back to 2010. The Giants have won a pair of World Series, and the Cardinals, of course, have won a World Series.
Well, that's what really separates these 2 ball clubs. I mean, they've both been very good in division play the last few years. In the last 5 years, each have won 2 Central Division titles. But the Cardinals have separated themselves in the postseason.
Yep. Pop fly, short right field, and Ryan Ludwig, the one-time Cardinal, is out number 1. Well, you go all the way back to 2004. The Cardinals have 50 postseason wins, 50 of them. That is 11 more than any other team in all of Major League Baseball. They've played in 49 postseason games in just the last 3 years. (2-0) to Todd Frazier, who had a good opener, had a couple of hits, also drew a walk and stole a base. First base side over near the tarp, and trying to reach over the second baseman Colton Wong, and unable to get it. Well, if a Red hits a home run off the Toyota sign out in right center field during our game, Monica Lenahan from Liberty Township, Ohio, will win the new Tundra on display every day at Great American Ballpark, and register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game. Just visit your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Still waiting to have a Red hit one of those. Frazier gone swinging. Second strikeout for Waka. 2 are out.
Like the last couple of batters, that Yadier Molina is trying to make sure that Michael Waka stays stubborn with that curveball of his. He doesn't do it very often, but they know that long range for Waka, he's going to need one more pitch in his arsenal. And he's thrown it to each of the last 2 right-handed hitters. First pitch. There it is again. And you throw it on the first pitch because normally that's just a get-ahead pitch. Not very many right-handed hitters want to chase that pitch on the first part of the at-bat.
Came back with another breaking ball and softly lifted in the air to Matt Adams, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Waka. End of 2, no score. Next weekend, they're back April 11, 12, and 13 against the Tampa Bay Rays. Sunday, April the 13th, arrive early, be one of the first 20,000 fans, and you'll receive a magnetic schedule and a Mr. Redlegs car magnet. Those are very popular. Presented by PNC Bank. 381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. That'll be a Friday night game, and Saturday is 1:10. Sunday is 1:10 against the Rays. So here we go into third, and it's strike one to Peter Borges. Cingrani has retired each of the first 6 Cardinals to come to the plate, 2 of them on strikeouts. Both of those came in the opening inning. A little bit better off speed right there.
Yeah, that was only the second off speed pitch that he has thrown tonight. A little bit of a slider, maybe more of a curveball than slider, but he had Borges way out in front.
Chasing the high fastball at 93 is Borges. Third strikeout for Tony. Now, we talked about what a strikeout pitcher he was his first year in the big leagues. Our IGS bringing the energy. Take a look at that.
Now, they had 18 starts, so he got just above that minimum right there, but he's with some very strong arm pitchers in that group. Some very young, talented young guys. Of course, A.J. Burnett, the veteran of the 4.
Cingrani, only the 4th Reds pitcher to work over 100 innings in a season and average better than 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. Many of you remember Scott Williamson, hard thrower, back in 2000. Mike Remlinger in 1997, and Billy McCool going back to 1965. Colton Wong, the Cardinals' second baseman. First blown save in this early season for Jason Grilli of the Pittsburgh Pirates. That one looped into short left field, and Ludwig chases it down. 8 in a row retired by Cingrani to start tonight, and here comes Walker, the pitcher.
You know, people talk about Cingrani, and you've already talked quite a bit time tonight about the radar gun readings, 94, 95, even 96 miles an hour. But when you talk to Cingrani and talk to hitters that have faced him, it's not necessarily the speed of Cingrani. It's the explosiveness of the fastball, and it's the fact that he's late with his arm. He'll describe it that way himself. He'll say, you know, just the way my delivery is, I've got a very long arm swing, and my body gets there before my arm does, and that's what makes hitters just a little bit off on their timing when they face him.
Well, many will remember Baseball America every single year names a minor league all-star team, and that's from all organizations at every single level, and they pick the best position and name that player at that position. Well, they took a right-handed pitcher, they took a left-handed pitcher. The left-handed pitcher in 2012 was Tony Cingrani, and that is strike 3 called to end the inning. 9 up, 9 down.
Jim Day with you. Billy Hamilton 2 up third in this inning, and of course, as you know, on opening day it was a struggle for him. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. I talked to Billy at length today and actually admitted to me that he was a little bit anxious. He was a little bit pressing, if you will. He said he had some butterflies, and admitted that he even thought to himself, wow, I got to get a hit for these fans. So he was pressing. After the game, in pure teammate fashion, he was picked up big time, not only from teammates but those outside of the clubhouse. He told me he got calls from Eric Davis, Ken Griffey Sr., Delino DeShields, and more, all telling him about their opening days and how everyone has gone through this. So Billy Hamilton, much support, especially from Jay Bruce, who's taken him under his wings. And Jay Bruce reminded him, I had 4 strikeouts to begin last season, and I think my season turned out pretty well. So they've got his back, boys.
There's a liner off the bat of Pena right at the second baseman Wong, and that's the way we begin the bottom of the third inning. Jim Day, thank you very much. Going to be a lot of fun having Jim Day with us each and every telecast, home and road, all year long.
Oh, he'll be roving the stands. He'll be in the press box. If there's a dignitary or somebody who's worth interviewing, he'll find that guy and bring us that interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to having Jim Day along every game this year.
Every day, Jim Day. Tony Cingrani can swing that bat. You saw that batting average, 7 hits and 28 at bats last year. He also put down 7 sacrifices. So he handles the bat very well. He runs extremely well, and that's how he got a number of hits last year. He runs so well. Look at the Cardinal defense. I mean, everybody has access to good scouting reports. All 4 of the infielders, even the second baseman and the shortstop, were drawn in. And he hits it right on the nose. So Waka not fooling the first 2 hitters in this inning, but loud outs. Right now you can tweet your photo using #RedsFanPhoto and have a chance to have it shown at an upcoming game on one of our broadcasts. It's brought to you by AT&T. No score, last of the third inning. And here is the aforementioned Mr. Hamilton. Down a strike. Hamilton thought that pitch was down low. But it's called strike 2, and now he's in an 0-2 hole against Waka. Trying to throw a fastball at 97 by him, and Billy able to foul it out of play. Well, that was a nice story about some of the players outside of the immediate Reds family. Of course, all of them are in the Reds family. Delino DeShields, Eric Davis, Ken Griffey Sr. But all of those guys, Chris, have had a lot to do with the development in one form or fashion of Billy Hamilton.
And he's been such a sponge down in spring training that he was willing to listen to all of them. Not only listen, but actually try to put into play the things that they were trying to teach him.
1, 2, 3 for Waka in the third. We go to the fourth. No score. Find out why going to a Reds game is one of baseball's best deals, and get Urban Meyer's take on paying college football players. Complete coverage, all Ohio sports at FoxSportsOhio.com. We heard from Urban Meyer on opening day. Of course, he has been a lifelong Reds fan growing up in Ohio, as is his wife. And he wants so badly one day to have a chance to come to a Reds opening day game. Of course, Chris, all the big college football programs around the country are in spring practice right now.
It's more like football weather than it is baseball weather in a lot of the Midwest and East.
Little flare. Here comes Hamilton. He's not going to get it. And that'll be a base hit for Matt Carpenter, the first Cardinal to reach base against Tony Cingrani.
Well, if you look really where we get a high shot of where Billy Hamilton ends up after this. He's playing very shallow anyway, but I mean, this is right behind shortstop where he ends up trying to make this catch. It's a good opportunity for Hamilton to take that chance because he's got Ryan Ludwig playing right behind him. That ball not hit hard enough to get past and give Carpenter an extra base hit.
So now Cingrani works out of the stretch. Chris, it's been a while. I know you take warm-up pitches out of the stretch in between every inning, but we've seen pitchers start to have some troubles when they haven't been in it in a while in real action.
You know, sometimes what a left-hander can do is just kind of pick his leg up and throw over to first base a couple of times. That kind of gives you some in-game practice. Even though you're not going to the plate, you're still getting the idea. This time around, though, it looks like first pitch breaking ball to Matt Carpenter. Now first pitch breaking ball to Johnny Peralta. His breaking ball will be a little flatter than Michael Waka. Waka way up on top of an overhand delivery, and Tony Cingrani's a little bit lower, a little low three-quarters.
Looked like Tony caught a spike as he Went to throw over to first base. Carpenter is not a big base stealing threat. Had 3 last year, was thrown out 3 times. Peralta, of course, last season suspended for 50 games.
That's a ball.
For his role in the biogenesis scandal. In 107 games, hit .303, 11 home runs, 55 runs batted in. Had a number of good years as the everyday shortstop for the Cleveland Indians. Fastball beat him on the inside corner. But we know Cingrani has a very good move. And again, he only pitched a little more than 100 innings last year. And take a look at that. Tied for the 3rd most pickoffs in the National League.
Just about all left-handers on that list right there. Cingrani will not only pick you off, but he'll also shut the running game down. He's got Matt Carpenter kind of going back to first base every time he lifts his leg up. And that's really what you want to do. I mean, the chances of you picking off a big league runner, not very good. For most right-handed pitchers, you're more likely to throw it down the right field line. But what you want to do is shorten up that lead a little bit. Make sure that maybe he doesn't get to third base on a base hit or score on a double by shortening up the lead and getting him moving back to first base when you lift your leg.
Breaking ball, they appeal, and no, says Lance Barksdale. So it goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes on Johnny Peralta. Nothing game. Runner at first, nobody out. We're in the top of the 4th. Is Carpenter going? No. And then he took off a little bit late, and it's grounded foul by Peralta.
Well, he waited a while because he wanted to make sure that Cingrani was actually going home. You know, there's 2 ways to steal. One, you go on the first move, and either you're going to be picked off or you're going to be probably in the second base easily. But on a 3-2 count, they're hoping that Peralta at least makes contact. Not a big lead at all for Matt Carpenter at first base.
Chase ball 4 on a fastball at 93 away from it. 5th strikeout of the night for Tony Cingrani.
You know, you can hear all about the scouting report, everything you want. You can watch as much video as possible, but until you stand in the batter's box against a pitcher as deceptive as Tony Cingrani, you're just not going to understand what it's like. And that fastball looks so hittable, and it's by you just about the time you get your bat in the zone.
3rd straight batter, as you pointed out, Chris, where he has started a Cardinal in this inning with something off speed.
It's probably what the game plan was. I mean, he came out big time, amped up out of that bullpen, throwing very hard. Nothing but fastballs really there in the first couple of innings.
Well, Matt Holliday suffered the consequences of that amped up Tony Cingrani in the first inning. Struck him out looking on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. And a tapper charging as Frazier. His only play will be to first, and that's where he takes care of Holliday. On to second goes Matt Carpenter. And there are 2 out in the inning with Alan Craig coming up. Well, a reminder, I know you're looking forward to our Miller time moment coming up a little bit later on in the game. Well, now you put a guy seemingly for Alan Craig with nobody on and maybe 1 out, nobody out, not a lot of noise. But the game certainly changes, or at least it has over his young career when you put runners in scoring position. He was the very best in all of baseball a season ago. That one fouled straight back. In fact, the last 2 years Craig has led the National League batting with runners in scoring position. He had a whopping 130 at bats last year in these situations and hit .454 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Number 1 in the major leagues at .448. But Cingrani jumps in front, 0-2.
You know, it really opens a debate, Tom, of whether a hitter can really become a tougher hitter with runners in scoring position or not. There are some people that say, hey, good hitters are going to get their hits all the time anyway. He's a .305 lifetime hitter, Alan Craig, in his short time as a major leaguer. But can you actually turn up the notch a little bit? I asked Joey Votto that over the springtime, and he said no. That's just something that just happens to be a statistical anomaly.
Well, of course, again, that's one man's opinion. Because you talk to some other guys who've done it, and they'll tell you they believe you can amp it up.
Yeah, that's why there's a debate.
Gone slinging is Craig. 6 strikeouts for Tony Cingrani. His team tries to get on the board. Heart of the order coming up. Horseshoe Casino Club Boxes. This unique hospitality area offers outdoor seating in boxes of 4, 6, or 8. You have access to an outdoor bar, all-inclusive food and non-alcoholic beverages in the Champions Club, and so much more. 513-765-7600. Or visit Reds.com/cruise. Now, you must be 21 years or older to gamble, as you know. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. See if the Reds can get on the board for the first time here in 2014. Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Jay Bruce against Michael Wacha. Each team with a hit. Wacha has fanned 3 through 3. Cingrani 6 through 4. Phillips hit a tapper out in front of the plate. Wacha threw him out in the opening inning. Well, they called that second pitch a strike. Apparently it did get a piece of the bat. So that was a 1-2 pitch. I beg your pardon. Yep. Joey Votto, the lone Reds base hit, his first time up, doubled down the left field line, hit number 1,000 of his career. Wacha just challenging with a fastball right down the middle, and beat Votto, wanted to get ahead 0-2.
Now, he doesn't waste any time out there either. I mean, he works very quickly. One of the faster workers that you'll find.
Smoked into right center field on a walk at 95-mile-per-hour fastball, and Votto jumped all over it.
Yeah, they got it down in the zone, and those fastballs that are down are a little easy to drop the bat head on, the ones that are up around the letters. But just a good solid swing, choking up slightly as Votto, and our fan cam, that's a good looking swing from that spot.
Well, for those of you just joining us, we had a 2 hour and 40-minute rain delay before we got started here tonight. This on opening night, a promotion that was started, what, 4 or 5 years ago here by the Reds. It has been enormously successful. We expected a huge crowd here tonight. Many of them stayed through the delay. Since we've gotten started, it's all about these two young hurlers, Cingrani v. Walker. Bruce struck out swinging his first time up, behind here 0-2. Cingrani's allowed 1 hit. That was a leadoff single in the top of this 4th inning. He has struck out 6 and not yet walked a batter. Bruce gone swinging for the 2nd time in the game, and that's 5 strikeouts from Michael Wacha. Well, the Fan Express to Reds Country. We'll be back on the road again this year. To get your group on board the Fan Express, call the Reds Group Sales at 381-REDS. Reservations will sell out soon, so get on board right now. That was enormously popular last year. They come out, they pick you up. So if it's a church group, civic group, whatever the case may be, get signed up and have the Fan Express come pick you and the gang up.
Man.
Nothing and 1 to Ryan Ludwig. He popped up to short right, leading off the 2nd inning. And hit with a pitch, and he is in a lot of pain. Looked like it got him right on the left hand.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, he's shaking the hand, immediately taking the glove off. You really don't know whether it just hurts bad or whether there's an injury to it.
Of course, it was on opening day when Ludwig last year injured his shoulder diving into 3rd base.
I think I got him right on the back of the hand. There's not a lot of meat there to absorb the blow. And now Kerwin Danley behind home plate is being attended to by some trainers as well. I'm not sure. Maybe that ball ricocheted off and then hit Danley on the side of the head. That's exactly what happened.
If I'm not mistaken, Chris, and perhaps you'll remember this better than I, but didn't Kerwin Danley deal with some concussion problems within the last couple of years?
I think you're right. I can't remember
I thought it happened here when he got injured. It was here last year. Remember, he was a home plate umpire when the Reds took on the Rockies, and in the bottom of the 1st inning, he was hit on the face mask by a pitch that had bounced in the dirt. The trainers came out. They watched as he stayed in the game. But then an inning later, the decision was made for him to leave the game. And he went next couple of days without working. He has had a number of situations like this. Going back to 2008, Danley was umpiring a game involving the Dodgers and the Rockies. He was hit in the jaw by a 96-mile-per-hour fastball from Brad Penny that went over the head of Dodger catcher Russell Martin. Was carried off the field in an ambulance. In 2009, Hank Blaylock had a broken bat. The barrel of the bat hit Danley in the face mask. He was carried off the field on a stretcher for a second time.
Well, after that Dodger Stadium injury, that's when Kerwin Danley switched from the old-fashioned convention-style face mask to the more hockey-style helmet that he's wearing right now.
Well, we talk about players all the time, and especially in the game of football. And of course, we're addressing that in the game of baseball with the catcher collision rule and so on and so forth. The topic of concussions. Some of you may have heard a couple of weeks ago, one of the most fascinating studies being done in the world. It should come as no surprise to those of us who live here. But one of the real leaders worldwide in the study of concussions is at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital. 2-0 to Frazier. They found out in that study that the rams that run as fast as they can and collide into one another at full speed, rams do not suffer concussions. And that ignited this study being done at Children's Hospital. And the NFL is very much watching that study. 3-0 now to Todd Frazier with 2 on and 2 out.
Well, a gutsy pitch right there. Frazier, good fastball hitter, runs the count to 2-0. He's sitting on a fastball right there. Yadier Molina knows that, and he instructs his pitcher to throw him a slider.
Throws one on 3-0.
Actually, it was a curveball and then another curveball, the really good one right there on a 3-0 count.
So what do you think he does now, 3-1?
Frazier sitting on fastball again. I think they probably come with the same pitch.
Well, they threw the fastball too low, and now all of a sudden, after a 1-out single, Ludwig with 2 outs, hit on the hand, followed by a walk to Frazier, and here comes Zach Kozar. Can the Reds get on the board for the first time in this young season? Kozar looks at a fastball right down the middle. Strike one. Boy, there's no fooling around here. Kozar popped up to the first baseman Adams, ending the second inning. 0 for 4 in the season opener, striking out twice, and both times struck out looking. Good eye there, 2-2.
Yeah, good block by Molina too, and right down, gave up on any chance of just trying to pick it, got his body in front of that. The way these two pitchers are throwing, you don't want to give up a run on a wild pitch.
Molina's won that National League catching Gold Glove Award 6 consecutive years. Big pitch right here. 2-2 on Kozar. We'll do it again. Take a look at the Cardinals' defensive alignment in the outfield here, and how shallow Borges in center and how shallow Craig is in right. Inning over. Reds leave them loaded. Still scoreless on the year. And we're scoreless as we go to the 5th. thank our statistician Joe Lucca for providing our steel power tool performer, and that is Tony Cingrani. Take a look at this note right here. In the last 100 years, think of all the greats that have taken the ball in Major League Baseball. Tony Cingrani has the longest streak, 18 of them, allowing 5 or fewer hits. That is remarkable.
Really, the only time that Cingrani ever gets in trouble, he kind of makes it himself by some occasional streaks of wildness. He did beat the Cardinals twice in his 2 starts against them last year, but he only went 5 innings in each of those contests.
And what should be noted is the 18 starts, that is every start in Tony Cingrani's career. Tonight his 19th Major League start, and not one time has he allowed more than 5 hits.
And it's really a pitcher that throws primarily one pitch. When is the last time you've seen that? I mean, of all the great fastball pitchers that you've seen, I mean, he's standing out as one of the best. I mean, if you're old enough to remember Robin Roberts, he was the kind of pitcher that would, I had him as a college coach. He told me that he would not throw a breaking ball until the 7th inning. Well, Cingrani's the same way. I mean, he's kind of thrown a few only because Brian Pena is forcing him to work on it, because eventually you're going to need that pitch. I mean, what he has done through his first 18 starts, 80% fastballs.
3-1 pitch. He gets Molina to lift one at Billy Hamilton in center field, and Molina very upset with himself after, I would imagine he feels like that's a pitch he should have done some damage with. You and I were talking, Chris, between innings. Bartolo Colon, the only pitcher in Major League Baseball to throw a higher percentage of fastballs than Cingrani. But boy, you look at the names on that list, and it's very hard to argue that you can't win games throwing huge numbers of fastballs.
Well, you've got to have a fastball, either a moving fastball or one that you can locate, or obviously overpowering. Justin Masterson really runs all over the place. That fastball does. Lance Lynn throws that high heater, very much like Tony Cingrani does.
Shelby Miller had an outstanding year last year for the Cardinals. Faded near the end of the year, but still a 15-game winner. He was number 5 on that list. Good breaking ball there. Reds again putting that big shift on Matt Adams. And of course, he had 2 hits in a season opener and hit them both to left field. There's ball 4. Cingrani was upset about that call, that breaking ball. I think he thought it was a strike. I thought the umpire had called it a strike. He called it a ball.
Well, the scoreboard operator thought he called it a strike, and the count had gone to 2-2 before Kerwin Danley held up his hands and showed everybody who was carried the look that it was a 3-1 count.
Now Peter Borges, and they have the runner, and they got him. How about that? Mike Matheny's probably asking, where in the world is Matt Adams going?
Well, you know you have a good pickoff move as a left-hander when you pick off a runner who has no intention of running. Matt Adams is going nowhere right there. But he's so deceived. I mean, he never even gets back to the bag right there. Swipe tag by Votto, missed the first time, but he's still 6 inches short.
Borges struck out his first time up. Scoreless game. We are in the top of the 5th inning. Reds with 2 hits. They left them loaded in the bottom of the 4th. 0-2 on Borges. Cardinals have 1 hit. That was a leadoff single by Carpenter in the 4th. We have reached 11 o'clock Eastern time. We did not get started until close to 10 o'clock after a 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay. Tapper at Phillips. And Cingrani rolling through 5. One-hit shutout baseball. Dishes together by Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com and try the new blue cheese and prime rib wrap or the triple threat nachos at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Along Fort Washington Way in downtown Cincinnati sits Great American Ballpark. Opening night, we did not get started till almost 10 o'clock. But here we are in the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Reds in a scoreless game. Tony Cingrani and Michael Wacha very much on top of their games, as Pena hit the ball very hard his first time up, fouls it away, and he's behind 0-2. Same trio came to the plate in the 3rd inning against Wacha. Pena almost knocked Wong over at second base, and Cingrani hit a bullet right at Peralta, the shortstop. Playing deep into the night in Pittsburgh, a 2-2 game after Jason Greeley blew a save, and then a strike 3 called to Pena. 6 in the game for Wacha.
Both these guys are really dealing, and really what separates pitchers like Michael Wacha and Tony Cingrani from all the rest of the very young, talented, hard-throwing pitchers that seem to be coming up in this generation is control. Wacha's got very good control. He exhibited that last year. He did the same thing in spring training when he pitched 20 innings this spring and only walked 4, striking out 23. So he got going early on when they reported at Jupiter in February.
You know, you look at Wacha's postseason run last year. We talked about he won 4 postseason games. He threw back-to-back one-hitters in the postseason, one in the division series, and in the first go-round against Kershaw and the Dodgers. Then outdueled Kershaw for a second time to win the NLCS MVP. In the postseason last year, Wacha faced 103 batters. Only 15 reached base safely. Cingrani can run, but he watches as that one sails by Adams on a throw by Peralta, and he'll be awarded second base.
Well, Peralta makes a nice play on the backhand right here. Cingrani just trying to stay alive, but he really never stepped into his throw. He threw flat-footed. The ball just died on the way to first base. Adams can't come up with it, and it takes a hop that benefits the Reds as it pops into the stands. Well, you hear infield instructors all the time telling infielders, use your legs, set your feet, use your legs.
Now Billy Hamilton tried to bunt his way on in the first inning, was thrown out by the third baseman Carpenter, and then struck out swinging in the 3rd. Taken down low, 2 balls and a strike on Billy Hamilton. What a pitch that is on a 2-1 count. Snaps in there at the belt, a curveball for a strike.
And very high end of the strike zone. Normally you get this pitch called on a fastball, but not a curveball. But the box track shows that to be right at the top end of the strike zone.
Ball to the right side, and this will be the second out of the inning. Advancing on to third, Cingrani, so it's up to Brandon Phillips. If the Reds are going to get on the board, they left him loaded in the fourth inning. .73 pitches in the game from Michael Wacha here in the fifth. 40 of those have come in the last inning in 2/3. Brandon started 2 and laid off. He knocked in better than 100 runs a season ago. Of course, those numbers last year for Phillips were much higher for the first half of the year prior to getting drilled in the left arm against the Pirates. All of his numbers were way up there. He was leading the league in RBIs, you might remember. He was leading the league in 2-strike hitting.
I never really said much about it. Just went out and played every day. Production went down, but he still realized that he needed to be in there.
Votto has both Reds hits. He stands in the on-deck circle as it's gone to 3-0 on Brandon Phillips. Snaps off a 3-0 breaking ball for a strike.
Well, the big thing that we saw, the adjustment that Brandon Phillips made last year was with 2 strikes. Spreads his feet a little bit in the batter's box, kind of shortens his whole approach, not just his swing. See if he shows that right from the start. Yep, a little wider stance right here. Trying to make contact, maybe pop one into right field.
Fouled away. Will do it once more at 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Here are the 2-strike numbers we were talking about last year. A 253 average with 2 strikes. That is a very effective average.
Puts it in play in the hole. Peralta throws on the run and snatched out of there by Adams to end the inning. We played 5. Reds and Cardinals scoreless at Great American Ballpark.
It's out for Reds Live. First look at the lineups, features, interviews, and more. It's Reds Live pregame. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Jim Day back with you. If you joined us during the rain delay, you saw Tom and Chris give a very good explanation of the new replay rules this year. That is certainly a big change this year for Major League Baseball. Now, if you come out to Great American Ballpark, you're going to notice another change as well, and that being a timing coordinator, including this guy holding up the cards. Now, here's the deal. When you go to break, he will hold up a red card, signal an inning break. A blue card means the pitcher should show his or throw his last warm-up pitch, meaning 45 seconds left in that break. When he goes to the yellow card, that means the batter should leave the on-deck circle and approach home plate. Just 25 seconds left in the break. And finally, the green card means break is over, play ball. I think a very good thing. The NFL does this, and this, in part, designed to speed up the game, and we all like that.
No question about that, Jim Day. Thank you very much. And here we go in the top of the 6th inning. It'll be 8-9-1 in the Cardinal batting order. No score in the game. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 runner left on base for St. Louis. The Reds are scoreless on 2 hits, have left 5, including the bases loaded in the 4th. Wong flied out to left his first time up. in the air, foul ground, room for Todd Frazier, and Wong disposed of to begin the inning. Reds were not far from selling this game out in what has become a very popular opening night promotion, where they have giveaways of players come out on a red carpet area like it's opening night at the show. They sign autographs and wave to the fans and so forth. Many fans here early despite the rain. And they promise fireworks after the game. But tonight they waited so long. Thought the Reds made a pretty cool move tonight.
And they played the fireworks off, and they sent them off before the ball game when people can enjoy them, and brought the people out from underneath the awnings where they were waiting until the rain subsided. Good idea.
Waka gone on strikes at his 7 now for Tony Cingrani. Well, follow the Reds with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 318-26 or visit Reds.com for more details. 2 down for Matt Carpenter.
Boy, these two young pitchers tonight are essentially giving a clinic on how to be aggressive on the pitcher's mound. I mean, not messing around between pitches, throwing strike after strike. For Cingrani, just about twice as many strikes as balls. Same for Michael Wacha.
Strike 3 call. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Cingrani says to Matt Carpenter.
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
3, 4, and 5 in the Reds batting order in a scoreless game here in the last of the 6th inning. Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, Ryan Ludwig. Joey 2 for 2, doubled for his 1,000th career hit his first time up into left field. That was in the first inning. And then singled into right center field his last time up. And with the 2 hits in the game, Votto career against Michael Wacha is 4 out of 6. All the other Reds that have faced Wacha are 4 for 47.
Yes, I still think it's so interesting to think that Joey Votto struggles so mightily against Adam Wainwright. The worst batting average against any right-hander he's ever faced. And they compare Wacha quite a bit to Wainwright, but Joey Votto sees him very well.
Wacha will take care of him this time as Wong throws him out to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. The Reds still in search of their first run here in 2014, and we're nearly 6 full innings deep into game number 2. Cubs have taken the lead in the top of the 12th inning, 3-2 over the Pirates. How about Aaron Harang earlier today? What with all the injuries to that Atlanta Braves staff, Harang, who had already been turned loose during spring training by Cleveland, as Bruce hits a little one-hopper back to the mound for the 2nd out of the inning. But the Braves, with all the injuries to their rotation, they pick up Harang. He starts the 2nd game of the year and works into the 6th inning with a no-hitter and goes 7 shutout innings in a 1-0 Atlanta win. Good for him. He was always one of our favorites.
No, you're not kidding about that.
Well, which one of these young pitchers is going to make the mistake first? Saw 2 veterans going at it on opening day. It was the solo home run by Yadier Molina, which was the only run of the game on a solo home run with 1 out in the 7th inning off Johnny Cueto. Well, Willis Ludwig got drilled on the left hand his first time up. Well, when it first hit him, obviously in a tremendous amount of pain, it did not look good. Long knocked it down, and his throw is too late. It looked like Long badly misjudged that ball off the bat. He went diving to his left, and it appeared as though he could have gotten there easily just standing up. It wasn't hit hard at all.
Well, he's got very good foot speed. I'm not sure if his feet went out from underneath him or just that he just misjudged the speed of that ball. He dove, it got away from him. When he did finally recover it, he made the wise decision of holding on to it.
And that will be scored a base hit for Ryan Ludwig. So here comes Todd Frazier. He is struck out and walked. Frazier back-to-back years, better than 18 home runs, better than 73 runs batted in. Of course, took the big dip from a batting average standpoint last year, tumbling 40-plus points. But off to a pretty good start here the first 2 games of this year. Has already walked twice, has a couple of base hits, and looking for that first RBI. That will be out of play. Cardinals have action in their bullpen for the first time tonight. They have the left-hander, veteran left-hander Randy Choate beginning to loosen. There goes a runner. Swing and a miss, and that's all for the Reds in the 6th inning. A hit, a man left. We're off to the 7th. Still no score. Game summary. Pitching, and pitching, Mr. Welch. A story in this one.
You're not kidding about that. We thought it would be a good matchup of a couple of very young, talented pitchers. Michael Wacha, 22 years old. Tony Cingrani, 24 years old. Both of them really just making their way through the major leagues for the first couple of times, and they have been better than promised. So far, we're looking at no runs scored this ball game until the 4 hits overall.
Well, there are the numbers. Cingrani has allowed 1 hit. That was a leadoff single in the 4th inning to Matt Carpenter. He's fanned 8, walked 1. Wacha's allowed 3 hits, 2 to Joey Votto, and the infield hit a moment ago to Ludwig. Fanned 7, walked 1. We march on to the 7th. And here comes Johnny Peralta, and he's down a strike. 2, 3, and 4 in the Cardinal batting order. You got to believe this will more than likely be the final inning for Cingrani. Although his pitch count is very, very low right now at 72. Threw better than 90 pitches in a 7-inning stint. His final tune-up against Arizona in spring training. He is due up 3rd when the Reds bat in the bottom of the 7th. Peralta has bounced out to the shortstop and is struck out swinging. Boy, this is a pitching-rich National League Central Division. There is no 2 ways about that. Of course, 3 teams last year qualifying technically for a postseason game. The Reds and the Pirates playing in that 1-game playoff. Cardinals winning the divisional title. You look at the team ERA leaders. Every team in the division ranked among the first half in the National League. with the exception of the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cubs had very good pitching last year. 3-2 now on Peralta.
Yeah, last couple of pitches for Cingrani, a little bit quick coming out of his delivery. Arm lagging even more than before, and that was ball 4 as he just missed it up and out of the zone last 2 times.
Tell you what, I'm going to have to start paying attention to our Fox box operator, Mr. John Browdy. He's been on it all night. We're having some issues, I think, with the scoreboard here. So I beg your pardon. I thought that was a 3-2 pitch. So leadoff man aboard, and now Holiday in the air, straightaway center. Room for Hamilton. 1 out. Well, tomorrow night the Blue Jackets go to Philadelphia, sitting just 4 points behind the Flyers. The Blue Jackets can improve their playoff chances with a win against Philly. Game time 7. Blue Jackets Live kicks everything off at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow with the Reds baseball. Reds Live getting underway at high noon. Oh, and we're hoping that Mother Nature is indeed in a good mood. First pitch 12:30. Here's Alan Craig. Another great pitching matchup tomorrow. Homer Bailey will get the start for the Reds, and he'll be opposed by right-hander Lance Lynn, a 15-game winner for the Cardinals last year. Homer 111. Many wondered if Lynn would stay in that Cardinal rotation, but heck, you go 15-10 with an ERA at 3.9. Into center field, and trouble a brewing here in the Cardinals' 7th inning. Craig with a base hit, advancing Peralta on to second base, and here comes Yadier Molina. Not a soul getting loose in the Reds bullpen. 80 pitches thrown in this game by Cingrani, and none bigger than the man he faces right now in Molina. It was the 7th inning on opening day where he broke a scoreless tie with a home run off Cueto. Here he bats in the 7th with 2 on and 1 out.
Yeah, we've mentioned it over and over again how aggressive Molina is early in the count. He nearly comes out of his shoes chasing that pitch. I'm not sure what that pitch was. 90 miles an hour, slow for a fastball, for the way Cingrani's been throwing it tonight.
Tardy on the fastball there is Molina, and Cingrani jumps in front at no balls and 2 strikes. His right-hander Sam LeCure begins to throw in the Reds bullpen. Molina, you may remember, was very upset with himself leading off the 5th inning after working himself into a 3-1 count. Ended up hitting a fly ball that was caught by Billy Hamilton out in center field, and he was very upset.
Well, after Tony Cingrani gets to a 0-2 count, and he's at that count in this at bat against Yadier Molina, opponents are 1 for 80. That's not on a 0-2 count. That is after he gets to a 0-2 count. So he's got to put away pitch. What Molina's good at in a situation like this, though, is being able to take that pitch where a pitcher tries to go on the outer part of the plate, just kind of lays it into right field. Waits a long time and hits it deep.
2-1, 1 out, 2-2 pitch. Fastball is high, so after getting ahead 0-2, tried to flip a couple of breaking balls up there that weren't anywhere near the strike zone, and that fastball misses up. Bryan Pena instructing the rest of the infield. No score in the 7th. 2 on and 1 out. Cingrani against Yadier Molina.
Now, really, for the first time tonight, now he and Bryan Pena not on the same page as what he wants to throw. Shook him off once, shook him off twice, and Pena's going out to find out exactly what he does feel comfortable with.
Cardinals 0 for 1 tonight with a runner in scoring position. They only have 2 hits. Opponents hit a 108 batting average against Cingrani in like situations last year. 3-2 on the way, and here it is. Runners go. And a fly ball into left field, going to be run down by Ludwig. So a big out for Tony Cingrani. And how about Mike Matheny starting the runners there with 1 out in the inning?
I think it was a good move by Matheny. Molina, probably pretty good chance of making contact one way or another right there. And the way this offense is going in this entire ball game for both sides, why not try to make something happen?
That's right out of the old Bobby Cox school of managing. I'm not sure anyone did that more in their career as a manager than Bobby Cox did. So now Matt Adams, who has flied to right and drawn a walk, then was picked off. Reds put the shift on Adams, not as dramatic as we've seen in the rest of his at-bats. Cozart this time is standing on the third base side of second, but he's not far.
Adams has had two pretty good at-bats against Cingrani. Had a good swing in his first at-bat. Hit a ball a little bit off the end of the bat, went to the warning track in right center field.
Two on, 2 out, a ball and a strike on Adams. And that fastball rides high. 90 pitches in the game now for Cingrani. He's thrown by far more pitches in this inning than in any inning prior to the 7th. But trying to get that one final out.
Boy, and that's the spot you wanted on Matt Adams. You want to be able to go up the ladder if at all possible. He's one of those big left-handed hitters who has that old-fashioned down-and-in wheelhouse. He'd much rather have it knee-high than letter-high.
Crowd that has stayed through it tonight. Getting behind this young left-hander. Trying to finish off Adams here in the 7th inning. And that one will drift in amongst the fans. The 2-2 on the way. Got him swinging to end the inning. Tony Cingrani, 7 shutout innings. What a night. A bang on Fireworks Friday, April the 11th. Reds and the Rays. Stick around after the game. Great post-game fireworks. Pre-game tonight. Presented by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. For tickets to that game or any Reds game, 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. How about the effort from that young man tonight? Very little doubt that Cingrani will be lifted from the game, as he is due up third here in the bottom of the 7th. No score. Bozart, a fly ball into left center field. And Waka, like Cingrani, making quick work of the opposition tonight.
Well, it was a good battle for Tony Cingrani, trying to get Matt Adams in the last batter of the inning. He finally drops a slider on him. Adams way out in front. That pitch diving down and away. One of the better breaking balls that Cingrani threw all night long. Strikeout number 9 for Cingrani through 7 innings.
Foul ball by Bryan Price. Roger Bernardino stands and waits in the on-deck circle. That's Cingrani's spot. And there is strike 2. Pena has lined to second and struck out. #100th pitch of the night coming up for Michael Waka. And it misses outside. Even a count on Pena at 2-2. As far as we can tell, that one pulled foul. Joe Luckab, our statistician, still digging through it, but going back at least to 1934, the Reds played their first 13 innings of that season before they scored a run in the 14th inning of that year. That one fouled away down the left field line. They have gone, of course, the front 15 so far this year without a run. They might be knocking on the door of an all-time record for the Reds. Drift out of play, and it remains 2-2 on Bryan Price.
Well, the pitching we've seen in this series so far has just been tremendous. Only 2 games, yes, but if you're the third pitcher on either team here, whether you're Lance Lynn or whether you're Homer Bailey, you're thinking, man, these 2 guys ahead of me have really set the bar rather high.
To the shortstop, Peralta, 2 are out. Well, it's now time for you to tweet your photo using #RedsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming telecast. And it's brought to you by our friends from AT&T. That's going to do it for Waka. Mike Matheny calling for a left-hander in his bullpen. They had Randy showed up earlier. Don't know if he has since taken a seat and had Kevin Segrist get up. We'll find out when they come walking out of the gate. But Waka up to the task again. 6 2/3 innings of shutout baseball. It will be Kevin Segrist, and he is our skyline haul to the bullpen. Being brought to you by Chevy. Visit your Tri-State Chevy dealer today. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, ranked #1 in the country in pediatric cancer care, according to U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals. 2 down, none on, scoreless game, last of the 7th inning. Walker out, and Kevin Segrist in the game, and it will still be Roger Bernardina to bat for Tony Cingrani. Segrist came on to face Joey Votto. Votto reached on an error in the 8th inning. That was the inning the Reds had the bases loaded. And then Segrist was the one who induced Jay Bruce to hit that ground ball to Matt Adams. The Reds had the contact play on. At least that was the explanation given after the game, when Adams got Brandon Phillips, a runner at third and a run down, and they got him out. Ball 3.
We showed you the numbers last year for Kevin Segrist. Boy, pretty impressive overall. An overall batting average against of 128. Held left-handers to a 118 batting average. Overpowering left-hander that sometimes goes through some streaks of wildness.
Segrist makes no bones about it. Same hold's true for Trevor Rosenthal, their closer, their right-handed setup man Carlos Martinez. All of them want to be starters. You rarely see a left-hander come out of that bullpen working out of a full windup. Bernardina thought it was ball 4. Instead, Kerwin Danley says strike 2.
I think Bernardina has an argument there.
So now a payoff pitch coming. And a high fly ball hit pretty well. Right center field, and at the warning track, it's run down by Borges, and the inning is over. So a no decision tonight, despite pitching brilliantly for Tony Cingrani, hoping that one had enough behind it. Pitching of Tony Cingrani simply spectacular here tonight. Big strikeout on the breaking ball of Matt Adams to end the inning, stranding 2 runners in the 7th inning. So now Manny Parra comes on out of the Reds bullpen. He was sensational last year. Got off to the bad start, you may remember, was placed on the disabled list. Well, when he came back, it was lights out. His final 45 appearances of the year, an earned run average of barely over 1.7. Ladder third in the Cardinal batting order. It'll be Borges, Colton Wong, and then a pinch hitter for Kevin Segrist.
Well, this move by Bryan Price to bring in a left-hander to face some right-handers down at the bottom part of this lineup, very true to the word that he said in spring training, that he was not going to play only by matchups. So here, the first batter that Parra faces is right-handed.
Borges in the game is struck out and bounced out to second base. Final numbers on Cingrani: 7 innings, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, no runs. So he continues that major league record over the last 100 years that we showed you earlier. Every start in Cingrani's major league career, and this isn't a record to begin a career. This is 19 consecutive starts by any pitcher in the last 100 years to have allowed fewer than 5 hits in every single start. On swinging Borges.
Boy, nasty pitch there by Parra. Bottom just simply drops out of this. It's a changeup. You see him turn it over right there, and look at the bottom go out.
I got to tell you, Chris, I think sometimes it's that old forest for the trees kind of thing. When you look at some of the notes we have put up tonight on Tony Cingrani, I mean, you really take a couple of steps back. And I think oftentimes we're always floored by some of the stats we're provided with up here in this job. As Wong, who had a bunt hit on opening day, remember now, against Manny Parra, takes a slider for a strike. It really is hard to believe that Cingrani is not getting more quote-unquote pub, but perhaps it's the fact that he was not in the rotation the entire year. And, of course, the Reds did not get into the postseason, and he didn't have the kind of chance to have success like Waka did.
Well, it's really unbelievable that Tony Cingrani was penciled in as the 5th starter on this team. What team out there can boast a 5th starter with those kind of 100-year numbers?
Fastball is high. One and two to count on Kolten Wong. I mean, you look at a couple of things we put up tonight. I mean, 100 years have gone by, and Tony Cingrani has the longest streak of any pitcher in the last 100 years. Rookie, veteran, makes no difference. And there was another note we had up earlier that last year's second in strikeouts, or number 1 in strikeouts per 9 innings. Fastball is high. So after getting ahead 0-2, now all of a sudden Parr's got to make a pitch. Wong can really run. They've got Shane Robinson standing in the on-deck circle to bat for Segrist. That ball's drilled. And Hamilton, playing so shallow, is burned by it. Wong's going to take a chance, or is he? No, he'll stop at second base. Well, Parra really dug himself a hole there. After putting Wong behind the 8 ball at 0-2, he goes to 3-2, and he smokes a fastball.
He's got a nice short swing, Wong does, and gets a pitch up right out over the center of the plate. I'm not so sure even if you're playing deep you're going to get that ball. That ball was hit on a line, and Wong ends up with a double.
Of course, the one area the Reds have been hit the hardest, without question, with 8 players on the disabled list to begin this season, is in their bullpen. Their 2 primary setup pitchers, right-hander Jonathan Broxton, left-hander Sean Marshall, their closer Aroldis Chapman, all currently on the disabled list. Bryan Price has not said who's setting up. He's not saying who's closing. He said they will play it on a situation basis and a game-by-game basis. Robinson went around a strike. Robinson has seen Parra through the years. 2 hits and 7 career at-bats.
Now, this entire Cardinal team has seen Parra a lot. Of course, Parra's spent his major league career either with Milwaukee or Cincinnati. This is the 30th career game that Parra has pitched against the Cardinals.
Popped up. Is it playable for Pena? No. So like the prior at bat against Kolten Wong, Parra has jumped in front now on Shane Robinson at 0-2. Fastball to hit right there and fouled it straight back. Sinking liner caught by Ryan Ludwig. Good play by the Reds left fielder. They're 2 away in the inning, and here comes Matt Carpenter.
Ludwig needs to get a good jump on this, and he does. Came in running hard. Want to make sure he caught it before he tried anything else right there. Colton Wong was way off the bag at second base, but really not much of a high percentage play trying to throw behind the runner and get him out.
Carpenter 1 for 6 in his career against Manny Parra. No score, runner at second, 2 outs. We're in the 8th inning. Breaking ball and a dandy by Parra to get ahead. Came with a fastball up and in, and it's 0-2. Popped up, and Kozar a diving play in center field to save a hit and the game's first run. Eighth inning. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. You just saw it. One, a play by Zach Kozar. But when it left the bat, Chris, it looked like it was destined to fall on the outfield grass.
Yeah, that's a good play anytime, but with the game on the line the way you probably figure it was there in the top of the 8th inning, that's a great play.
Carlos Martinez on the pitch out of the Cardinal bullpen. It starts out Billy Hamilton, ball 1. No better time for Hamilton to get on base for the first time in this young season than right here and right now. Scoreless in the bottom of the 8th. Shows bunt 2-0. Of course, Billy Hamilton's first career stolen base came against the Cardinals with Yadier Molina behind the plate. That was one of the most exciting single moments all of last year. Stole the base. Molina nodded his head as if to say, we'll see each other playing. Brings that one with him, but did not get it by the pitcher. Hamilton an 0 for 4 night, 1 away here in the 8th. Pitch stays up high. Ball 1 to Brandon Phillips.
Swing. Swing, B.
You know, it really is amazing the amount of pub. You know, we're talking about the lack of pub that Tony Cingrani has received. when you start looking inside some of the numbers, and no one is disputing the stuff of Carlos Martinez. Of course, he's so young, he won't turn 23 until September. But, you know, you look inside some of the numbers primarily as a starter in the minor leagues, and they are very, very impressive. There's no denying that. That ball in the air down the right field line over near the stands is Alan Craig. But pitching as a major leaguer. Now, granted, 21 games is not a big sample size. But in 28 innings last year, he allowed more hits than innings pitched. He allowed 40 base runners in 28 innings. Threw the ball well in the league championship series, but struggled in the division series and the World Series. So while you look at the numbers, especially out of the bullpen of Rosenthal and Segrist, and based on what they did last year, you can understand all the pub.
Well, it might be even a little bit more sizzle than substance for Martinez, given the fact that he was 21 years old. He threw the ball in the high 90s, not necessarily a big guy physically. They list him at 6 feet, 185 pounds. So compared to other modern day pitchers, he's no big bruiser.
Now, make no mistake. I mean, look, the stuff is there. There's no question about that.
When your team goes to the World Series the last few years and you're involved in it the way that Martinez was last year. Remember, he came into spring training this year locked into a fight with Joe Kelly for the number 5 starter spot. Now, whether it was a contrived competition or not, they probably figured that he is much more valuable as an 8th inning guy than he is as that number 5 starter. Kelly, very capable pitcher as well.
That one popped up in the foul ground, and Martinez has retired the first 2 very easily here in the Reds' 8th inning.
One thing the Cardinals do out of their bullpen, though, the deeper they get into the game, the better the arms seem to get. Segrist came in throwing a lot of breaking balls, but he still has a fastball in the mid-90s. Carlos Martinez, mid to high 90s. Then you start bringing in Rosenthal in the 9th inning, and he's capable of triple digits. So it's a power bullpen, definitely.
Well, you have another left-hander out in that bullpen, and that is Randy Choate.
Now, he does not fall into the power lefty category.
No.
He's the wily old veteran sidewinding lefty.
Now, Mike Matheny pacing around in that dugout. Yadier Molina went out to visit with Martinez. And now having a seat is Matheny, and comfortable staying with this hard throwing right-hander Carlos Martinez against Joey Votto. Votto 2 out of 3, doubled in the first inning. That was his 1,000th career hit. He had a single to right center field in the 4th inning and bounced out to Wong in the 6th. 2-0. And now another visit to the mound by Molina. That was a one-way conversation right there.
About that. I don't think he minced words.
Must have told him in Espanol, throw it 97 right down the can. That is the one thing about these young pitchers. They are not afraid. It is nothing but fastballs. And they walk Votto with 2 outs in the inning. And here comes Jay Bruce. And Chris, based on what we just saw, I mean, wouldn't you say it's probably pretty evident that Molina's saying throw the fastball?
Yeah.
And just throw it as hard as you can and throw it in the strike zone. And if you're Jay Bruce, I mean, 98, 97 by no means is easy to hit, but you got to be ready for the fastball.
Well, he's got action on it, too. You see that ball when it's down and on the outer part of the plate, really runs away from a left-hander.
Broken back. Fly ball to right, and that's all for the Reds. They go quietly once more. We're on our way to the ninth. A nothing affair.
The capper on this one after the game. It's Reds Live Pulse Game. As always, is presented by King's Honda and the King's Auto Mall. And we do hope that it's a Redlegs victory that we're putting a capper on. I'd like to invite you to stick around tomorrow as well with us. Not always do we broadcast the business day specials, but we are on the air 12:35 start tomorrow, and it is a big day for one of our favorite guys, the pride of Indiana. There's going to be a lot of people coming from Indiana towards Cincinnati because Tucker Barnhart, the catcher that's replacing right now Devin Mesoraco on the 25-man roster, he has been told he will start tomorrow, making his major league first start. He will catch Homer Bailey, and he's going to have a ton of people in the stands. And Tom and Chris, I'm sure you guys could concur with this. That's some good people right there. Tucker Barnhart, what a fine young man.
No doubt about it. We're very excited to see him in a Reds uniform tomorrow for the very first time. Who knows, we might see him tonight the way we're going.
I'll tell you what, he's one of the better defensive catchers you will find, and you can look all over the place and not find one that you'd be more comfortable with throwing out there in his major league debut. J.J. Hoover, the new Reds pitcher. Third of the night, we've seen Tony Cingrani and Manny Parra, and now Hoover.
They started off Alan Craig with back-to-back breaking balls and has fallen behind 2-0. Peralta, Holiday, and Craig to start it here in the top of the ninth inning of a scoreless game. Peralta is 0 for 2 with a walk. And a fly ball into right center field. Billy Hamilton waving off Jay Bruce. Boy, that ball carried a long way.
Sure he did.
Hoover pitched in a career best 69 games last year. 5-5 record. ERA at 2.86. 47 hits in 66 innings. The only chink in the armor for Hoover, bouts of wildness. He struck out more batters than innings pitched, 67 of those, but he walked 26. That's a number he'd like to cut down on this year.
Yeah, and he had some wildness in spring training too. In fact, he walked 7 batters in 8 innings in spring training. Feeling though, having been down to watch the Reds the last few years in Goodyear, Arizona, there are some pitchers that just really struggle pitching in Arizona in that dry air.
He throws back-to-back fastballs right by Holiday. 1-2.
And the pitchers that mainly struggle down there in dry air are those that rely on the curveball as their secondary pitch rather than their slider. And that's what Hoover does.
Well, Hoover coming right after Holiday, who's 0 for 3 today. Holiday is struck out, bounced to third, and fly to center. So this one started on April the 2nd. And here we are on April the 3rd, 12:15 in the morning Eastern Time. They're doing a late night as well in Pittsburgh. Neither team apparently wants to win that one. Pirates had the bases loaded in the bottom of the 13th with nobody out and bounced into the routine 7-2-3 double play. Swung on and fouled out of play. And for those of you that don't know how to score Major League Baseball, and there are a lot of us out there, it's when they bring the infield in, the outfield in. 7 is the left fielder by position number. 2-2 on Holiday. Breaking ball fouled away. So that means a ground ball was hit to the left fielder, who is playing just behind the infielders, basically an extra infielder at that point. Junior Lake of the Cubs, who threw home to get the force out. They threw to first to get a double play and got the final out of the inning. Struck him out on gas at 93.
Well, they had a pretty good swing on a previous breaking ball. Fouled it off, and Hoover decided to come back with the gas, and he just fires it right by him.
Crowd tonight of 36,189. Obviously, most of them are long gone, but I tell you what, for those that have stayed, they are into this game here tonight. Breaking ball snaps in there to Craig. Strike one. Take a peek ahead of the Reds. Bottom of the ninth inning. Ludwig, Frazier, Kozar due up. And right now Carlos Martinez is still in the game. The always dangerous Alan Craig with a count of 2 balls and a strike. Boy, that's a nice pitch. Breaking ball, roll, and Frazier is unable to field it cleanly. Playing a little closer to the line and had to go far to his left to get it. So now Yadier Molina, the batter. Fastball the outside corner. Strike one. Two balls and a strike. Breaking ball is strike 2, and Yadier Molina apparently did not like the call by Kerwin Danley behind the plate.
Well, so now Danley's got both Hoover and Yadier Molina upset because they both feel like they had better pitchers on both of them.
Came with a fastball, and Molina able to stay alive. A light rain is beginning to fall once again. We had to wait 2 hours and 40 minutes just to get started tonight. Two and two on Molina. Ball 3. An error by Todd Frazier allows Alan Craig to reach with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. And now Craig will start on a 3-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. An error and a walk, and all of a sudden the Cardinals have the go-ahead run in scoring position for the third inning in a row. So now Matt Adams, the batter, he has fly to right, drawn a walk, and struck out. Strike one. Hoover started the inning getting Peralta to hit a fly ball to the warning track in right center field. He fanned Matt Holliday and threw a great two-strike pitch to Alan Craig, who rolled over a little bouncer to the glove side of the third baseman Frazier. He was unable to field it cleanly. A walk to Molina, and now Hoover has jumped in front of Matt Adams at no balls and 2 strikes. Adams has fouled away 2 balls off to the third base side, and the Reds continue to put that big shift on this left-handed batter.
Now, from watching Matt Adams, I get the feeling that he's hit the ball the left side because he's late on the fastball, not because he's trying to hit it the other way. You've noticed that Hoover and Brian Pena have kept nothing but the fastball on Adams, thinking that that's the pitch that they could beat him with.
1-2 on Adams. And once more fouled off and out of play to the third base side, clearly beaten on the fastball. But I guess, Chris, isn't that maybe what would worry you after you watch 2 or 3 of these in a row? Is that he is tardy on the fastball and would be more prone to hit it the other way?
Yeah, I still think that if they've got him down as a pull hitter, so much so that they're going to put the shift on, they've got a lot of data to do that on.
And that one came in a side gate for strike 3. Adams unhappy with Kerwin Danley. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Can the Reds win it? 12th, the Reds will take on the Tampa Bay Rays. If you're one of the first 20,000 fans, you get a Reds fleece blanket presented by Duke. Purchase your tickets today. 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to Reds.com. Well, here we are in the bottom of the 9th inning after this strikeout of Adams to end the top of the 9th.
Well, they kept the fastball on him over and over again until very last pitch right here. They decided not to take another chance with the fastball. And you couldn't place it out there any better than J.J. Hoover did that backdoor breaking ball. Nothing Adams could do except drop the bat, the helmet, and head out to first base. Boy, we're having a guy that pitched in 8 games in spring training and quite frankly did not look all that sharp at all down in Goodyear. J.J. Hoover in mid-season form here tonight.
Cardinals have left 5 runners on base over the last 3 innings. Each team with 3 hits, each team with an error. Strike 1 to Ryan Ludwig. The Reds have left 7. But really the only threat of this entire game that the Reds have posed came back in the 4th inning. And it was thanks to wildness. Here's a base hit by Ludwig to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning. That's when they got a single by Votto sandwiched in between a couple of strikeouts. A hit batter, a walk.
Trying to get the breaking ball down and away, and this baby just hangs right up there on the outer third. Just a nice sweeping swing by Ryan Ludwig to get it going here for the Reds in the 9th inning. It'll be interesting to see now how Bryan Price plays this. Leadoff runner on. You bunt him over.
Well, the Cardinals don't believe it. They have Carpenter 3 steps behind the bag down at third. And swinging away on the first pitch is Frazier. Of course, this is the kind of thing you never get a read on a manager in spring training. I mean, Bryan Price made it known he wanted his team to run a little bit more. But you're not playing to win games in spring training. Not a lot of strategy going on. Todd Frazier, if you're wondering, has 2 sacrifices, both last year in his big league career. He's behind 0-2. Tapper foul. It remains 0-2 on Todd Frazier. This crowd that has stayed around has earned the right to walk out of here celebrating the first win in game number 2 of this season. Paid crowd of over 36,000, 36,189. And here we are at 12:30 in the morning. And there's a base hit into left field that'll send Ludwig into scoring position. And there is very little doubt, one would assume now, Chris Welsh, how Bryan Price will play this one.
You got to play the odds, you would figure. The third baseman on that particular play with Frazier up, Carpenter hugging the bag at third to prevent a double that would win the ball game for the Reds. So it opened up that hole between shortstop and third base. Frazier hit it hard, but he found a hole on the left side, and the Reds have it going here. 2 on, nobody out.
And they have the right man coming up as far as asking to put down a bunt. Zach Cozart not only led the National League in that category last year, he had 13 of them. He also led the National League in sacrifice flies. So talk about giving yourself up. 10 sac flies, 13 sacrifice bunts. And in doing so, he became the 3rd player in the National League ever to go double digits in both of those categories, joining Ricky Gutierrez and former Red Johnny Temple. That one fouled off. Strike 1.
Now that's the idea, though. Down the third base line as firm as you can hit it to make sure that you make that third baseman field the ball. You got to remember that the Cardinal pitcher, Carlos Martinez, he's about as quick as a cat out there. I mean, he can cover all sorts of that infield, and unless you bunt it hard down the line, he'll field it. Carpenter will stay at home at third base, and they'll get the lead runner on a tag play or on a force play.
It's been an amazing pitching night. Spectacular work by youngsters Tony Cingrani and Michael Wacha. And now the Reds trying to win it here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Cozart couldn't have rolled it out there any better than that. So in this 0-0 game in the bottom of the 9th inning, Bryan Pena will have a chance to get the Reds a win.
He'll probably be walked to load the bases up. That's really the only option that the Cardinals have right here. Load the bases, go for a double play ball or a strikeout. For the right-handed hitter in the on-deck circle now with Chris Heisey moving out there.
Cardinals won the season opener as they are indeed going to intentionally walk Pena on a 1-0 count. Spectacular pitching on opening day. Cueto for the Reds, Wainwright for St. Louis. Tonight, Tony Cingrani waited 2 hours and 40 minutes to throw the first pitch of the game. All he did was go toe-to-toe with Michael Wacha. 2 hits, 9 strikeouts in 7 shutout innings. Wacha 6 2/3, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, no runs. Will we have another 1-0 finish here in game 2?
Now, once this walk is complete, the Cardinals have to make sure, I'm not sure if it's Jose Akendo or one of the other coaches who places the outfielders, but you've got to be able to place your outfielders shallow enough that if they do get a fly ball out there, that they've got a legitimate chance of throwing a runner out at home. That's Ryan Ludwig on third base.
Well, here comes Mike Matheny out of the Cardinal dugout. There's no one getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. He has instructed his right fielder, Alan Craig, to come and join this meeting on the mound.
Well, they may just bring in Alan Craig to be a fifth infielder. And that's what it looks like they're going to do. They're going to, looks like, put Alan Craig right up the middle and play him somewhat of a short center field a la softball defense. Craig now coming in front of the bag, so they're covering all corners, including the middle twice, with Martinez the pitcher, Craig right behind him. Heisey looking for something, he can hit it in the outfield.
Jam shot pop up, and that one will drift out of play. 0-1 to Heisey, who may have had the best spring of any player in Arizona. He had 6 2-hit games. He had 6 home runs, which tied for the Major League exhibition season lead. Not that that means anything right now. If for no other reason, at least he comes in swinging a hot bat. And he has just given the Reds win number 1 of the season in a 1-0 finish. Nothing Cardinals in game 1. 1-0 Reds in game 2, as these two National League Central Division rivals have gone toe to toe.
Now the Nissan drive of the game, this line drive in the left center field by Chris Heisey to win it 1-0 Reds over the Cardinals and give Bryan Price his first victory as manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
How about that? Congratulations to Bryan. Hoover gets a win in relief. Just spectacular pitching on both sides tonight for the Reds. And Rodney, Parra, and Hoover. You're right. Just good baseball. Tell you what, this is perhaps a foreshadowing of how this summer is going to play out. But these two teams pitching, Chris, has just been unbelievable through the first 18 innings.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow afternoon. Third game of this 3-game series, scheduled to start at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. And a couple of pretty good pitchers on the mound in Lance Lynn and Homer Bailey. So we may see yet another pitcher-dominated game tomorrow.
I got a feeling we're going to see Chris Heisey in a lineup somewhere tomorrow after the spring he had. Let's send it downstairs to, or I beg your pardon. We're going to take a commercial timeout, and we are going to come back to get Reds Live started. Celebrating a win tonight. 1-0 over the St. Louis Cardinals. Chris Heisey, the hero.